as long as we react to the thing that this world will always be controlled by. Because I think that the external is just a reflection of what we see internally. If internally you only see the pain and the suffering of the things around us, then that's the only thing that you're going to experience from the external. But on the other hand, if you allow yourself to see the joy, if you allow yourself to understand and to feel the joy of life internally, then the external will only show you more things to be joyous about. The external will only show you more things that bring you peace, that bring you happiness, and that just make you a more joyful person. And when I say that, I really just mean that the whys are the same in pleasure and in pain. And I'm not exactly sure where that quote originally came from, but I'm really starting to understand how important and how true it is. In the sense that regardless of what the external world is showing you, it's almost about not reacting to it, not being emotionally controlled by the things outside of you, not allowing anything outside of yourself to control how you see the world and what you think and what you feel internally. Because as long as we allow things externally to control our internals, then the external will always be controlling the external. We'll never truly be able to substantiate any of the things that we want to see for ourselves. Because how can you make your internal imagination an external reality? The external reality is always controlling your internal imagination. It's about recognizing the amount of power that we have internally and the lack of power that we have externally. Because we can't control anything outside of ourselves. I say this all the time. The only thing that we can do is influence what's outside of us. But it's not up to us to control what's outside of us. It's up to God. Even something as simple as ourselves, to an extent, we can't control. I can't grow another hair on my head. It's not up to me to do that. It's up to God. But everything internal, I can control. The way that I think, the thoughts that I focus on, the way that I feel, my emotions are all things I can control at any point in time. So when I say that the whys are the same in pleasure and in pain, I mean that we shouldn't be controlled. We shouldn't allow ourselves to be emotionally controlled by the things that are outside of us. And when I say that, it may bring upon the notion that, okay, that means that in every situation we should be emotionally neutral. That we shouldn't allow ourselves to feel anything positive. But I don't mean it in that sense. I mean in the sense that we should almost be a bit disconnected from the world, a bit disconnected from the things that are outside of us. And that we should substantiate the feelings that we want to feel for ourselves internally. And like I said, that doesn't necessarily mean that we should always be emotionally neutral. It also means that we could allow ourselves to have a baseline, a normal of joy, of happiness, and of peace. And when you're no longer controlled by the external world, when you're no longer emotionally dependent on the external world, then you're allowing yourself to experience that joy and that peace and that happiness always. And then you'll find ways externally, you'll start to see externally that joy to manifest itself in your life. But it also means conversely that you shouldn't allow yourself to be emotionally controlled by the good things that are happening externally as well. It's like the quote that's like, oh, what was it? It's like, oh, the same building that they put you upon, or the same podium that they put you upon, is the same one that will throw you off. So if we allow ourselves to be emotionally controlled by the good things that happen outside of us, then we'll also allow ourselves to be emotionally controlled by the bad things that happen to us as well. So it's about being almost emotionally disconnected from the world and substantiating the positivity and the peace that you want to feel, substantiating that for yourself. Because it's something that we do for ourselves all the time, we just don't recognize it. In the same way that, you could spend hours thinking about or imagining bad scenarios in your life, conversations that never happened, saying things to certain people that never happened, and feeling a certain kind of way and substantiating that feeling in your life. Why don't we just do that same thing but positively? in a positive way. Imagining what we do want rather than what we don't. And imagining it vividly as if we were truly living it. And substantiating those positive emotions in your day-to-day life. Because I think that if we allow ourselves to do that, then we're basically doing all the work that we can to substantiate that in our lives. It's about seeing the world the way that you would if you were living your best life. And in doing so, then it no longer becomes something that we can control, it becomes something that God controls. Because God only truly wants what's best for us. So if you're substantiating the positive emotions as if a certain scenario happened, then you'll no longer really care if it happens externally or not. Because you're already experiencing it internally. And then if this scenario doesn't happen, it just means that it's not truly what was best for you. Because we don't truly understand what's best for us. God does. Human understanding is limited, but God's understanding is infinite. He does truly know what's best for all of our lives. And I think it's important that we recognize that. So maybe the car that you wanted, the experience that you wanted to have, maybe you just never got that because it's not truly what's best for you. So it's about recognizing that we just have control over ourselves internally. And the fact that we don't have control over ourselves externally means that we shouldn't allow the external to control the internal. Because then you'll constantly always be led on a leash by things that are outside of your control. And then you'll always be wondering why certain things happen to you. Why these things keep on repeating themselves. When the whole time you're allowing them to repeat. So it's about recognizing that the whys are the same in pleasure and in pain. And that we have the ability to control ourselves internally. We have the ability to be the same with and without. And in substantiating that, then we allow ourselves to gain what's truly good for us. The Bible verse I have for this video is taken from Philippians 4, verse 4. And it says, "Rejoice in the Lord always." I will say it again, rejoice. So it's about recognizing that you could experience that rejoicing, you could experience that joy and that peace at any given moment, regardless of your external circumstances. And it's not to say that you should, just ignore the external, but it's about recognizing that the external doesn't necessarily need to control the internal. So I hope you took something from this video. Thank you for watching.